Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Porcupine. I am Adam Nutter, of course, your host. Again, real quick before we start, just catch me on all the social media stuff at Adam Nutter on all of everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.com/Adam Nutter for the Porcupine and all my stand-up stuff. Of course, droptent.com/events for all my upcoming shows for tickets and my social media for shows. The only thing I want to plug real quick is November 20th at the Pop-In in Chalfont, PA, right outside of Philly. We're having two shows, at 7 and 9:30. You get your tickets. I think they're up already at droptent.com/events. I'll have more stuff coming up, but I really want to plug that because it's my favorite one to do. That's all for me. All right, guys. My guest for today, the apparently Batman villain herself, Ashton Birdie, everybody. Give it up.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Wow,
I did not rob a bank or smash one with a hammer today, but I
You
did.
kind of look like you did.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I actually do. This actually was for work. I am a creative director for a social media startup. And because it is Halloween week, it was basically my job to model in a clown costume for them. And it goes along with the theme of like what they do. It's a social media startup called Float. It is FLOTE.app. And the whole joke was, well, let's put Ashton in like a clown costume. We can say, you'll float too if you join our social media startup. So it's sort of like a take on Pennywise.
No, it's cool. Ronald McDonald Clown College is going well for you. I'm very proud of you.
Well, you know, to be fair, you are a professional clown. I used to be a professional clown, and I was like, I guess my life is as a clown. So really, I'm just who I am for Halloween, I guess.
We're all clown. My whole mic arm just came off, so I'm trying to like casually put it back together and talk to you at the same time.
Oh, you're fine.
We are all clown.
Great. I thought you were just about to give me some riffs for a second. I thought you were getting really into it.
I was gonna say, no, we as comics are the least respected entertainer on the rung of entertainers.
And it's so funny because I just started watching the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I didn't think I was gonna like. But I related a lot to the main character quite a bit. And I actually found it quite entertaining. It's actually one of those things where you think it's not going to be funny because everyone else is watching it.
Agreed.
And then you like watch it and you actually enjoy it. I was really surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, you really enjoy this. I used to be a stand-up comic, which you learned when we saw each other in Austin.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I told you that, by the way. Did I not tell you that?
Nope. You dropped that on me when I saw you.
No, because
you were like, I used to do comedy. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. And then you told me about Scott Adams and stuff like that.
I swear not Scott Adams.
Not Scott Adams. I'm sorry.
Mike Judge.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He's a fun guy. He's
sorry.
Most chill person I've ever met in my entire life. Like he's one of those people like you expect to be a cartoon character 24/7 and he's not. Then there's like me who probably annoys the absolute crap out of him every time he talks to me because I'm basically just this walking, talking cartoon character all the time. But yeah, no, it's funny thing because I thought I told Robbie Bernstein a while ago that I used to do stand-up comedy and like he didn't realize. And I know for a fact I told Kyle Ruff at Porkfest, and then I guess he was just too high to remember. So
that's fair.
It was weird. I was watching you guys do stand-up comedy and I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, it's been like years since I've done this. But yeah, I used to be like really into stand-up comedy back in like San Francisco, Oakland. I was never like,
where'd you start?
Where'd I start? Oakland, and then I got into Oakland? Okay. Yeah, well, I started in high school actually. Originally with I can't think of the word right now. Improv. I was really into improv. I was an improv club in high school. I was really much into theater, and then improv later on became stand-up comedy. And funny enough, I actually got canceled fairly well into my early college days because my biggest joke that I used to run with all the time was about a subway worker who is a feminist. So you walk into a Subway sandwich shop and you ask for a sandwich to be made and she gets mad at you, you know it's her job. Like that was the whole joke. And the funny thing is that was like my biggest joke that got the most laughs in San Francisco, Oakland. And none of these people who would attend these clubs ever cared. Like the same people who go in and out all the time, they never cared about this joke until like 2015, 2016, when Trump was running. It was really weird. It's like nobody cared about making fun of feminists, you know, including the feminists until Trump ran. And that's actually kind of like what kind of made me put a MAGA hat on a little bit, just because I never liked Trump. And then I was told, oh, you can't make jokes because Trump this and Trump that. And I was like, well, maybe I should put the MAGA hat on because you're all stupid.
Yeah.
And now I regret putting the MAGA hat on because he was just the biggest disappointment of my political adult career.
Sure. I mean, also Trump like ruined comedy in a way. Like, that wasn't his fault. It was just like by his nature.
Oh yeah,
of being.
no, he definitely did, and
Yeah.
not just like just him existing and people being a bitch about everything. Sorry, I've had quite a day. But just his whining on Twitter all the time. Oh, CNL or SNL is making fun of me again. Yeah, they're always gonna make fun of you. When has SNL not made fun of a politician in office? Except Barack Obama, maybe, because Barack Obama is somehow Jesus.
Well,
to
they
a lot
sucked
of
his
people.
dick a little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit, a lot of it.
But to be fair, Trump is Jesus to a lot of people too. It's
Sure.
really strange. It's really strange. Like everyone gets on me for burning that MAGA hat, but it was the best decision I ever made for my soul, because I just feel like I really do. And I mean it. I say I left a cult because I've always felt, even when I was a Trump supporter, wow, this is a little culty, because you can't criticize the guy. You can't make fun of the guy. You can't make jokes about the guy. It's like you have to treat him like Orange Jesus. It's so strange. And this isn't just about Trump. This is about Obama. This is about Hillary Clinton. This is about Bernie Sanders. The amount of people who worship politicians in the guise of, but I hate the government. It's really scary. It's really, I hate the government except for this one character. And look we do it with Ron Paul.
We do say we do it with Ron Paul.
I love Ron Paul. I love him. He is Liberty Grandpa. But like, if you're in office, I can't trust you. And luckily enough, Ron Paul is no longer in office. I love his son, but he's in office. So I have to just,
Right.
be a little
well, I mean, let's be
adagey
honest,
with that.
Rand isn't what his dad is. I mean, he still puts out some dumb
Even
fucking
Rand
takes.
knows he's not what his dad is.
Yeah,
it's just a fact of life. But either way, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a politician, I'm not going to like you. And I definitely learned that from my Trump days for sure. And everyone's talking about good old Dave Smith. Look, I love Dave Smith. I made him a hot dog. In fact, I forgot I made him a hot dog. So, I mean, he remembered I made him a hot dog. So clearly the hot dog was really good, I guess. But you look, the guy's like super nice. I like his takes. But if he ever actually does run for office, I can't support him because I can't support a politician. I love the Mises Caucus, but I also believe that voting doesn't matter. So it's just like one of those things where it's like, I support your philosophies, but anything government, in my opinion, is bad. I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't like going into a voting booth and being like, please dictate my life for the next 2 to 4 years. Thank you. Like, so I don't like that.
Here's how I look at it. And I agree with you on a lot. Like, I don't think voting matters, really, honestly. Like, I think if Dave does run, right, it's we all know he's not going to win. He's not going to even get a percent.
It's not for the power. It's for the message. That's
for the
problem
message, right?
Is that what Trump did too, supposedly?
Well, Trump won, though. That's the difference.
Right. And Trump won, but he continued to send missiles into Syria.
Of course.
He didn't pardon Assange or Snowden or Ulbricht. God bless Ulbricht. If anyone deserves a pardon, it's Ulbricht.
Poor bastard.
And Assange. And Snowden. I'm not even gonna hold one over the other, because they're all essential people to the liberty movement and freedom and truth, right? And Trump did that to me. Trump really was just a giant disappointment. But I feel like I had to go through that Trump phase to sort of experience that disappointment, to sort of bring me back down. Because I've mentioned this in so many different interviews. I was an anarchist in high school, and then I became a libertarian, and then I became a MAGA kid. And it was sort of, I feel like Trump was just like, sort of the, hey, Ashton, remember, politicians can't be trusted kind of situation. But even if Dave Smith runs, I'll get excited and hyped for him. I'll definitely wear Dave Smith, t-shirts and whatever, Dave Smith 2024 t-shirts. If he actually runs, I don't know if he's actually going to run or not. I feel like it's just a meme at this point, but but you see what I'm saying, right? Is that once you're in office, I can't trust you. I mean, like, look at Tulsi Gabbard. I love Tulsi. Bummer. But that girl, that woman, gives me so much whiplash. It's like every 5 seconds, it's like, are you our anti-war queen or not? And then she makes excuses for Israel, but then turns around and talks about how we have to stay out of war and stay out of the Middle Eastern interference. But then she turns around again and kisses butt to Israel. It doesn't make any sense. And in fact, there's times where Dan Crenshaw makes more sense than Tulsi Gabbard, and Dan Crenshaw makes me want to puke.
Yeah, he sucks. His other eye should go too.
Here's the thing. Dan Crenshaw is absolute cringe, but I loved him in the Goonies. Okay, like, he was fantastic.
Going back to your comedy, because that's again a personal connection to me, obviously. So you start in Oakland, which is probably a tough town to start in, I would imagine, doing stand-up comedy.
When you're a tiny female, here's the thing. I started off when I was a teenager. And when you're a
That's
kid,
hard. I started at 18 too. It's hard.
No, I wasn't 18. I was like 14, 15 when I started.
That's Dave Chappelle stuff.
and the crowd's a lot nicer to you when you're a kid, for sure.
Sure.
And so I think because I was at that younger age, I was able to make like spiffs about what it was like being a millennial. I made fun of my parents all the time, and people love that shtick, you know?
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I started to develop, a taste for, I understand society a bit more, because I started to get more political around this age as well. And I've discussed in many other podcasts, I started getting more into politics when I was around 15 or 16. And that's when I started making the feminist jokes. That's when I started making a lot more jokes about Obama, which funny enough, people in Oakland loved because everyone was kind of on the same page in the Bay Area, because it was like, yeah, sure, we got a black guy for president, but at the same time, we're still incarcerating innocent black men just for having marijuana on a person. Now, that was a huge thing for me as well. But yeah, I used to make shticks about Obama all the time. I used to talk about his drones. I was really into it. I loved Ron Paul growing up. I think he was definitely the person that helped me. I don't think he red pilled me. Alex Jones was definitely what red pilled me. Occupy Wall Street was a huge moment in my life, just watching on the ground footage. When your parents, when the only thing they watch is Fox News and ABC and CNN, and then you go on YouTube and you see people on the ground actually videoing what's happening instead of, from a reporter, it's definitely a surreal experience. And it really makes me sad that we're just sanitizing the internet to a point where kids nowadays will never get that experience when you're sitting on your computer, hiding from the world and really seeing what's going on. Because when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, all throughout that time, I was learning about all this. The internet, you could say anything on the internet. You could show anything on the internet. And so when I had that, a lot of people think, oh, it's so dangerous. But because of that, I really saw what was happening in the world. I was able to make my own opinions. I wasn't left or right as a teenager. I was simply just what's happening. And next thing you know, after Occupy Wall Street, my junior year of high school, that's when Assange happened. That's when Snowden happened. That's when Ross Ulbricht happened. And so all of these things happened all at once. And it was just like, whoa, in my face. And I think when I got, political, I also got really more into comedy. It was my sort of way to make fun of the world around me because, I was into acting. I was a drama kid. I was never a cheerleader type. I was kind of awkward. People kind of made fun of me in high school. And comedy really, being on stage in general really helped that. Making fun of myself, dressing up in silly costumes. And I used to be in a band. I played the drums. I liked entertaining because I felt like entertainment and being creative was one of those things that really encouraged me to develop myself as a person.
I just need to be validated and feel like wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too. I mean, look, a lot of people can say, well, it's because you're autistic, Ashton, and people who are autistic need, they like to go on.
Is that Clint in the background?
Yeah. You want to say hi?
Yeah, tell him I love him.
Adam says hi. I'm still on air, by the way. Everyone can see your sweaty self.
Just got back from the gym, Adam. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy. You're looking good. Looking fucking sexy. Jesus Christ. What the fuck was I just saying? Clint's sexy body distracted me in my in my thought process. Comedy. Oh yeah, validation. So there was a thing that I started comedy because like I truly loved. I was a comedy nerd, right? Like I grew up because we're definitely a few.
Who was your biggest inspiration, by the way? Mine's so basic, but like I have to give credit. Who was your biggest inspiration?
Like Patrice O'Neill, Jim Norton. Those guys.
Mine's so basic. It's actually kind of laughable and people kind of cringe at it.
Is it Jim Carrey?
No, Robin Williams. And here's the reason why. So I love Robin Williams, but as a kid, so I was diagnosed with autism later in life. So I didn't know during the time I was doing all this stuff. I wasn't diagnosed until I was about 18 years old. But growing up, I liked to copy cartoon voices. And Robin Williams is known for doing his cartoon impressions. I played the genie several times on stage for Aladdin, the musical. I was able to use a lot of that work. So Robin Williams was somebody that I really connected to growing up. And he's actually a huge reason I wanted to do stand-up comedy for so long as a kid. but yeah, it was the cartoon voices for me because I don't just like to get up there on stage and just do my shtick. You know what I'm saying? I like to actually like change who I am as a person and like get into characters. And Robin Williams was one of the few people who actually did that. It was really inspiring to me. And I feel like if Robin Williams could see what's happening in the world right now, he'd probably kill himself again.
He'd probably double hang himself. See, it's weird to me because what you're saying, like that you're not more of I know you said you did improv, but like you're not more of an improv person. Because to me, that's more improv stuff. Like, oh, I like to do voices, I like to change who I am.
Well,
like,
stand-up comedy and improv, you can mix the two easily together. That's why I love Robin Williams.
I am anti.
You can.
You can. No. This is. I just had a conversation about this at the dog park. A bunch of people were just asking me
Maybe
about
you're
comedy.
not talented enough.
No, wrong. I'm smart. I'm smart and correct in what I'm saying. Improv is totally different than stand-up comedy. It's not the same.
It's totally different, but you can combine the two easily. Easily.
When you say combine the two, what do you mean by combine the two? Because maybe I'm just misunderstanding what you're saying by combining the two.
Improv is in the moment putting things together, right?
Yeah.
And sure, maybe you have an act that you do have put together for stand-up comedy, but there's no reason you can't add improv into your like set.
Well, it's like crowd work and stuff, though. It's kind of improv.
That's not just crowd work. I mean, like, for example, it's like if you have something that pops into the brain that just works, why not go with it?
Yeah, that's just riffing. That's just riffing in stand-up, though.
But riffing and improv is essentially the exact same thing. Improv just means in the moment, right?
But improv is set up differently, though. Like I'm talking about like improv.
Well,
yeah,
if you're an improv troupe, if you go, yeah, but if that's with an improv troupe, though.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you can use things from improv in stand-up comedy.
Well, yeah, you could use things from football to play baseball, but like it doesn't make it the same fucking thing.
I'm not saying it's the same thing, Adam.
All right, I'm just saying.
You're twisting my words, CNN.
I'm not. I'm just trying to figure it out because
ABC.
Do
you work for Fox News?
I'm very because you actually have done stand-up comedy, so you're not this person. But there are people out there who I'll meet them someplace and I'll be like, what do you do? I go, oh, I'm a comic. And they go, oh, I do comedy too. I'm like, oh, cool. Where? And they go, oh, I do improv. I'm like, that's not fucking comedy, guy. It's fucking improv. Like, it's not the same thing. Because there's something about, because especially improv troops, and you could attest to this, is right. Like you have other people to fall back on. Like, it's like when you're doing stand-up, it's
that's very true.
On stage alone, and you have
are your own troupe in a sense. But that's why I'm saying that you can still improv with yourself.
Sure.
In the moment. That's all I'm saying. And you can use aspects of improv in stand-up comedy. I'm not saying they're the exact same thing.
You are correct in that matter. Yes. You can use strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, sure. You can use strengths from each for you can use strengths from stand-up and improv for each thing, for sure. Definitely. But I'm surprised you still didn't go over more improv troupe route with doing what you like to do. Did you like stand up more? Is that what I'm saying? Did you like more of the solo thing?
I like the more solo thing just because I like all the attention, first of all.
Yeah, of course, it's the part of the validation part.
but second, it was just one of those things where I've always been able to trust myself more than other people. Not even trust thing, but just I've always been best working alone. Anytime I've gotten other people involved in my life or my work, it always gets phooey. Like, and that's just how it always. That's how
easy with that language.
Phooey. I mean, man, I was cussing up a storm earlier, but phooey's the one.
I was being facetious, but go on.
Oh, we're all naturally facetious.
I know, right? So yeah, no, it's something about the solo thing. So all right, so. For me, and again, you watched my set. I only have one real joke about, or I mentioned I'm a libertarian. It was like during the TSA joke, right? But it has to do with the TSA. I normally have always stayed away from politics in my stand-up because especially starting in New York, right? Starting comedy in New York, a very liberal place. It wasn't worth it to me trying to just get good at comedy. So let me talk about my political shit on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to get good at jokes. So I never really wrote political humor. So it's interesting when I hear you be like, no, I kind of went right into it. You're like, fuck it. So
well, no, it's not. I don't always just
not
right into it, but I always have like an idea of what I'm going to talk about.
Right. But the fact that you still were a young comic going like, fuck it, I'm just going to talk about this. And like what you said, you essentially burned bridges doing it.
It wasn't. I didn't start off with politics for sure, but it was when I got more into politics. But the thing is that nobody cared back then.
Right.
People were making fun of liberals and conservatives all the time. Like, we lived in a world where it wasn't left versus right. Like, none of this existed. I mean, sure, like when it came to like going into the voting booth, people like you want to vote for McCain? What's wrong with you, crazy person? You want to vote for Obama's gonna destroy the world? People would sit around election time, like a month, it was like what, 3 months before election, and afterwards, like, people just stopped caring.
Yeah.
And people recognized that entertainment was entertainment, and that we are all humans trying to make the world a better place. And that we could, that was the beautiful thing about comedy, is that comedy sort of revealed the things about humanity that people didn't want to admit, but we could all sort of like enjoy together, while making fun of ourselves, making fun of society, making fun of humanity together. Comedy is one of the most human things possible. And now we live in a world where it's completely tainted. It's so tainted because people are afraid to say what needs to be said. It's just not a matter of truth. It's a matter of healing. When you tell people they can't make jokes about a certain thing, you can't laugh at the problem. It's actually telling people that they can't really heal from something that needs to be healed from. If we can't make COVID jokes, if we can't make, political jokes, then how are we supposed to heal from this mess?
Yeah.
Laughter is the best medicine. Another Robin Williams thing. Patch Adams even said it.
Is dark. That's why like a lot of any people like first responders and stuff, anybody who sees a lot of death or shit, it's a lot of dark humor because it's a coping mechanism. So us as people, right, we see like a fucked up political thing, we see a fucked up the COVID stuff with all the stuff. So especially comics as we are, you have a nature to be like, all right, well, I'm gonna look at this in the most fucked up way I can look at it, but try to make it funny, because that's what we do to cope with it. But then you have this new breed of generation of American, your generation, your younger generation.
Yeah.
Although, what are you considered? You're still a millennial, right?
It's weird. I'm literally October of 1995, so I am on the literal cuff between Zoomer and millennial. So I'm in this weird phase where I don't know what I am, and I piss off both sides.
Interesting.
So I'm the most hated like generation in America.
I'll say though,
I don't know what I am.
I mean, listen, I think Generation Z is the one that's really they're the real PC problem, right? It's not.
But here's the thing: is I thought Generation Z was gonna be like all things good. Like, Generation Z does have a good sense of humor where they don't like want to censor jokes or anything. The problem with Generation Z is that they jump onto activism trends too easily. And that's the problem, because most activism trends are pushed by the mainstream media and the government now.
Sure.
It's not the same way it used to be.
Okay, well, if they're not the ones trying to cancel jokes, then you just said, well, they're not the ones trying to, they have a good sense of humor. Well, then who's doing the canceling?
If you look at Zoomer humor, it's very edge and it's very fringe. Right. I don't think it's Generation Z. I think it's the overall establishment trying to censor videos and social media and all these different things. I really do. I don't think Generation Z is so much about a cancel culture. However, I think they are very much consumed by what is trendy. So if it's a trending thing in activism, they'll jump on it. I think Generation Z is the most consumed by aesthetics and trends. But I don't think they want to cancel humor wise, because if you listen to Zoomer humor, it is the most fringe possible. I think it's the most fringe since Generation X. So.
Okay. Well, so millennial, I think, is too long of years, because it's from 1980 to like 94, right, or something like that.
Something about that, yeah.
That's too long, because I was born 86.
Well, no, because the boomers are even longer than that, I think, because it goes
they're
from
like 40. They're like 45 to like 60 or something like that.
Like 68. It's like over 20 years.
Yeah, it's a while, but like so I feel like if you were born between 85 and 90, I'll say 3. We're very different than 80 to 85 and fucking 94 to like 97.
Yeah.
So
I barely remember the 90s. Like, I remember
right.
Ninja Turtles, Pokemon, and Nintendo, and that is because my parents were cheap as hell in the 2000s.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I remember I was 4 years old when the 90s started. So like, I remember all of the 90s. Pretty much. I remember the Giants winning the Super Bowl in 91, like pretty like
that's
vividly.
Intense.
Like I remember my parents like jumping up and down in the living room and me being like, "Yay!" Like I'm happy because like I know we did something. Like you're still 4 or 5 years old, but like yeah, like when I say I remember the night, I remember listening to Nirvana on the radio with my dad. Like
I didn't know who Nirvana was until till middle school.
yeah, right. So, but that's my point.
To be fair, I was so out of touch with life. Like I was never into Britney Spears. I was never into NSYNC. That's why I can't really talk about this stuff because my fondest memories of like the 90s were, I guess maybe, yeah, I was like in the 90s. I wasn't a lot into Disney stuff growing up. I loved like Hocus Pocus has been my favorite movie from like age 2 and up,
That's a very basic white girl thing to say.
I know. It wasn't always a basic white girl thing to say because I remember being in elementary school loving Hocus Pocus and all the kids thinking I was a weirdo and all the same chicks love it.
Yeah. Well, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Especially for millennials now.
It was like Doctor Who. Like I remember being super into Doctor Who and everyone thinking, what the heck is that? And then next thing you know, all the chicks are talking about how they want to screw David Tennant. And where were you people 5 years ago? It's the weirdest thing. It's like being nerdy used to not be cool.
Yes.
And then it becomes cool. And then for some reason, I'm not cool still. I'm just the nerdy kid. It's the weirdest thing. It's
so two things.
The social hierarchy has never made sense to me. I never understood this.
You're right. So two things. The first thing is so I was a nerd. I started collecting comic books because my dad got me to like again the early 90s when it was not cool. Where like if you like Spider-Man and Batman in 94, you were a fucking loser. Like, you get made fun of. Like there wasn't like now it's super, like you said, super fucking cool to be like, oh, I'm in a it's a Marvel movie. It's like
when Suicide Squad came out and every girl dressed as Harley Quinn.
Like and you, every girl dressed like you.
I'm not dressed as Harley Quinn. I'm just dressed as like a clown. But here's the thing.
But
is as somebody who grew up on the animated series of Batman, Margot Robbie is still not Harley Quinn to me. I refuse to think of her as Harley Quinn. And honestly, this is gonna be the hottest take of the night, but I just don't think Heath Ledger's that great of a Joker.
Oh yeah, you're crazy. He was
like honestly, Clint's giving me a dirty look right now. Honestly,
Luke Skywalker doesn't count. Don't say Mark Hamill. He was a voice.
It doesn't matter. He's the best voice. Okay, here's the thing.
Same.
All I'm asking for is an Arkham Asylum movie. That's all I want.
Yeah,
like cool. Why is that so freaking hard? And here's the thing. I love Jack Nicholson as a Joker. I actually do think Jack Nicholson is a better Joker than Heath Ledger.
No, it's a different Joker. It's a different. Listen,
it doesn't matter. Heath Ledger is not the Joker to me.
Why?
Because he's not the Joker. Like that whole serious creepy thing. That's not the Joker.
Can King Nerd break it down for each? So Jack Nicholson, he played the more 60s campy Joker. Okay, he did the early
campy Joker. Well, here's the thing.
No, I'm saying he did the early, he even did the early comic book version of the Joker. When Heath Ledger's Joker was the Frank Miller Dark Knight graphic novel Joker in the 80s. That was that Joker. It's a completely different Joker.
It doesn't matter. I still think here's the thing. At the end of the day, if we got a Joker that was most similar to the animated series Joker, that's the one I want. And to me, so far, it's Jack Nicholson.
Okay, because I'll tell you why. Because it comes off fucking campy and ridiculous. That's why.
Because I like that. That's what the Joker's supposed to be.
I know, but okay. So this is the thing in superhero movies that you
it's
kind
like
of
people say, well, Margot Robbie looks just like Harley Quinn. Yeah, she doesn't do the voice right. She doesn't do any of the accents right.
She's not bad at it. I don't think
she looks like Harley Quinn, but she doesn't do the voice right. She's just not Harley Quinn to me. She doesn't do the facial stuff right.
I agree. She could do better with that. But I don't think she's terrible.
She sounds like a basic crazy bitch. Like, I'm be honest. Like that's the thing is Margot Robbie basically was like, oh, Harley Quinn's a crazy clown girl. That's all I gotta be. It's so much deeper than that.
I agree.
Then not to mention is what really bothers me is the voice is so important because the Harley Quinn's voice changes throughout the series. So when she's the doctor, she's very normal, natural, whatever. And then when she falls into the pits, she goes, oh, Mr. J. You know what I'm saying? There was no change. And then on top of that, she didn't do the voice right. She used the same exact New York accent that she used in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, no, she did.
That
You're right.
Bothered the crap.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn's not from New York, honey. She's from New York.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And she has to have a higher pitch. It's gotta be, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
My goodness.
I agree, but I still think she did an okay job for who else is gonna.
She looks like her. That's all she
looks
has.
like her. That's why
she looks like her. That's the problem. That's why Hollywood's dying. They're thinking, Okay, which actor or actress has blonde hair, blue eyes? Let's throw her in this. Okay, which actor has brown skin and this color hair? Like that's all I think about right now. They're not actually looking at
True.
who has the right attributes. Like when Will when Will Smith played the genie, I was so I mean, look, I don't think Disney should be making these remakes anyway. But as somebody who has played the genie on stage, like, look, we all know no one's going to replace Robin Williams, but like Will Smith ate the genie. He's just some guy who goes oohs and ahs every once in a while.
Yeah,
He's
but
just obnoxious.
They're gonna keep remaking Disney shit. That's for that's actually for to hold the property to it rights also. I believe that's why like every like 20 or something 30 years like we're doing Snow White again. It's like why? It's like
I
because
don't
we
think
have
it
to.
actually does rebrand the property rights because when the original it's based on what the original brand is.
That's what I heard recently about. That's what I have to
So
constantly.
the only reason I can think of is making money off nostalgia. And the thing is
Oh,
that they
sure.
keep using these actors and actresses and singers and whatnot for the sake of look at this person's in this movie. And then you got Beyonce playing a freaking lion in The Lion King. And let's be honest here, Beyonce is not an actress, nor is she a voice actress. Most of those people in that movie are not voice actors. And it could be the fact that the animation makes them look straight out of National Geographic. So the lions literally have no emotions, you know? But like, at least make it feel as if through the voice, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it
I get
wasn't good. It wasn't it.
I get it. There's a weird because I'm 30. I'll be 35 next month. So like, there's a weird thing I'm saying where I see a lot of like 7-year-old kids now dressed in like a lot of 90s nostalgic shit. I'm like, why the fuck? How do they know? I'm like, oh yeah, their parents are my age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I forget that. And that's a weird thing I'm saying a lot. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, a bunch of fucking 86 kids, like, you know, born 86 kids and 85 kids and 87 kids. You grew up with fucking Nightmare for Elm Street and like, you know, animated Batman and Spider-Man. And now they're showing their kids that shit. And but I'm always stuck in the mind where I'm still like 22 in my head, you know, where I'm like, how these fucking people? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 30 fucking 5. Like they're my age. Like I'm just getting older. And like, I'm just not, I always forget that sometimes.
Yeah, no. Let's see how many movies you can watch a Corey Feldman in them, you know, and recognize every movie that he's in. But it's funny. So I have to ask you, as an official '90s kid, as a fake '90s kid to an official '90s kid, what is your favorite '90s Disney film? I'll bet you anything. Mine is the most strange. You guess. Yeah, you go first. What's yours?
So man, that's an on the spot question. So
Yeah.
I don't,
What's your favorite
fuck.
'90s Disney movie?
Nightmare?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a
probably.
hint. My costume kind of resembles what my favorite
Oh,
90s
okay.
movie
I was gonna
is.
take a real shot in the dark and say like the great the Rescuers or something like that, but
I
no.
do love The Great Mouse Detective. That's 70s,
The Great Mouse
I'm
Detective
pretty
was
sure.
great. The Rescuers were good. Fuck, a clown resent.
Think about it.
I need more hints.
I had a goat named Jolly at one point, which is named after the goat in this film.
A clown kind of Dumbo?
No, what Dumbo is the 1940s. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hunchback.
Oh, Hunchback. That's
It's my
right.
favorite, and no one else likes it. Everyone says like Lion King or like Pocahontas.
Lion King would probably be 2 for me, and I would say maybe
Honestly, I was never on the Lion King hype as a kid. Like Lion King, I think came out the year after, or maybe it was the year before I was born. I was never super into it. I always loved Hunchback. I could watch that movie over and over as a
Hunchback
kid.
was fine.
Hunchback was great.
Hercules was pretty good too.
Hercules is fantastic. That's my
Yeah.
second favorite. I don't know if that's 90s though.
Is it?
Maybe
It might be like
actually it is 90s.
it has
It's
to be
the
like
epitome
99
of
or
90s.
like 98
Yeah.
though. It's like the end of that.
Honestly,
I was like, yeah,
but if Treasure Planet was in 90s,
that's 2000s, right? That's
I
early
know it's
2000s,
2000s.
yeah.
Honestly, though, like I feel like 2000s Disney does not get the credit it deserves. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and the only reason why it did not do as well is because the 90s was literally the renaissance of Disney.
It was.
But 2000s Disney, we got Brother Bear, we got Lilo and Stitch, we got Treasure Planet.
See,
we
I
got
was in high school
Atlantis.
already. So like that was
Atlantis.
I
Yeah,
was
but
kind of
here's the
getting
thing
phased
is-
out by that.
Well, the thing is that even if you were in high school, like Disney was pretty brilliant because they were purposely trying to market a lot of their like 2000 stuff to like kids who like had already
Me.
gone past yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it was actually pretty great. Like, honestly, even as an adult, like I've gone back and watched
Right,
Treasure
but
Planet.
you gotta put yourself in so I'm a 13-year-old Staten Island Italian kid playing football.
I went
who's
to
like, yeah, but-
watch Tangled in theaters at
you
age
did.
15.
But you gotta put yourself again. I'm that, and then it's like
I
it's
know
like,
grown-ass
you
man
watch
who liked
Treasure
Frozen.
Planet. It's gay. That's what I was told growing up.
I
right? It's
know
like, oh, it's gay. So it's like,
grown-ass
yeah,
men
now.
who like Frozen.
Yeah, I'll watch fucking Finding Nemo right now and cry. It's not my point. But like me growing up was different. So like I had to rewatch all the 2000s.
Well, that's what you are
as an
from
adult.
Staten Island. That's because you're part
I'm
seagull.
wearing the fucking hat and I'm part trash bird. Yeah.
Yeah. You're part trash bird, which is why you have no sense of creativity, probably.
Yeah. Wow, I'm a comedian. Literally one of the most creative things you have to do.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right? I wish, dude. Oh my
Unfortunately
God, I
for
wish so much
Staten
I did.
Island, I guess.
For Staten Island, it takes a lot.
I know. You know what's that kid's face? What's that face boy's name from
Pete
SNL?
Davidson.
Yeah, the dude who like literally lost Ariana Grande. Can you imagine being that guy? You almost married Ariana Grande.
He's
dude.
so ugly. It's mind blowing
How
to
did,
me.
because he dates the hottest women. It doesn't make any sense.
Mind blowing.
The
to me.
dude is like, his face is the epitome of Staten Island, and he still gets the hottest chicks.
Yeah, he looks like his face looks like two sunken in catcher's mitts. Like that's what it looks like.
He looks like a slightly more attractive version of Mr. Bean to me.
Dude, his face looks like a not yet as bad Freddy Krueger face.
But he's like screwing like these chicks who look so freaking hot. Like,
Yeah, it's
how
pretty
does he
wild.
Pull that? It's like
He's
you
funny,
gotta
I
know.
guess. I don't even find him funny. I find him very, and I also hate that like everyone's like, Pete, because I'm from Staten Island. I'm a comic. If you're a comic from Staten Island, you automatically
Well,
have
the
to know
thing
Pete
is, too,
Davidson.
is,
I think
I feel
that's
like
a rule.
every comic from New Yorker has this shtick that you don't have, which you should take this as a compliment, by the way.
Thanks.
It's always just obnoxious is their whole shtick. It's really annoying. It's like, great, we get it. You're from New York and you gotta blow up in her face. It's
I
like
know. I agree with
whole,
you.
like,
So
it's so freaking
when
annoying. It's
I-
like, don't get.
No, you're right. You're right. So when we get we do, like I said, we run that monthly show out here by me. It's in right outside of right outside of Philly. And when we ask New York comics to come up, because it's a suburb of Philly where we're doing the show, and I'd be like, hey guys, listen, don't talk about the subway because they don't know what the fuck that is and they don't care. So like no one wants to hear about your New York problem. Like unless it's like
every New York person talks about the subway. It's so.
I know. Also, like, don't forget, I started doing comedy there, but I got good outside of New York. But even though I started there, but I got better in the burbs. So then, like, it's different for me. It's
Well,
not
that's
like
the thing too is that a lot of my comic stuff comes from the fact that I'm from the Bay Area. But because the Bay Area is on the news all the time, I think people can somewhat relate to
so you
hating
were
on the
talking-
Bay
like,
Area.
okay, like I have that bit about 9/11, right? But like I'm sorry, I say I'm from Staten Island. But no, I'm not being like, oh, I'm from Staten Island. Look at the fucking ferry. It's like, hey, I'm from Staten Island. This crazy event happened next to my window. Like, look at now. Here's a bit about it. But like when a lot of New York comics would just go out there and talk about like the subway, the bridge, the traffic, people in Pennsylvania or fucking Ohio or Florida, like, cool. I don't know what that is. I've literally have no reference point. So I have to remind them sometimes, like, chill the fuck out with that stuff.
Well, again, the whole goal of being a comic is to relate to the human and have a human connection with your audience, and a lot of people can't do that. And so, which is why certain people have different audiences, which is the brilliant thing with the internet is that the internet you can build your own community over time because people will sort of flock to you based on how they relate to you. But being on a stage is freaking scary because you got all these lights blinding in your face. You got these people looking down. And you're like, well, I haven't talked to these people yet. Don't know who these people are. So let's hope they can relate to me somehow. And you got a bad night, you had a bad night. You had a good night, you had a good night. You can't really predict that situation with an algorithm. And that's why it's harder than being on the internet. And a lot of people don't get that because people on the internet, everybody wants to be funny on the internet, right? And a lot of people don't understand that, like, just insulting people, just being a dickhead is not being a comic because there's a sense of humanity to being a comic that a lot of people don't get.
Also cleverness and nuance too.
And then when you leave the keyboard, it's a whole different world because a lot of the times these people who think they're comics on the internet, when they enter the real world, that's when you get things thrown at your head.
Yeah. Well, there's also the internet. That's the thing about social media. Or like ruined the perception of like shit talking. Like people forget, like, hey, just because you're behind a computer, if you said this in my face, I'd fuck you up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not being funny. You're just being insulting.
Oh yeah, no, but there's a way to do it. Like for example, Tower Gang makes fun of me all the freaking time. Like Tower Gang.
Of course, I
They
love
make fun of me all the time. The funny thing is, like we all know like when I rage quit on Tower Gang, right?
them.
But it was simple as is. I just hung out with everybody in person, and now every time like they do the live thing, I'm obviously helping with Clint and whatnot. I'll be in the background laughing at every single freaking joke about me because it's hilarious. Because I
Yeah.
know they don't mean any harm towards me because we're all friends, we're all cool.
This is what I say, especially I mean, if I fuck with you, it's because I like you.
Yeah.
Like if I joke
Exactly.
around, if I fucking make fun of you, it's because I care about you in some way, shape, or form. Either like I like even with my wife, like I fucking
Mhm.
bust her balls, and
Yeah.
she'll be like, stop making fun of me. I'm like, it's because I fucking care about you, idiot. Like
I am
I'm busting your balls.
Well, the thing is, I'm the biggest ball buster that is, and so if I can't handle my own balls being busted, then I'm the biggest hypocrite you'll ever meet. But that's fun. It's fine when people make fun of me. I understand that no one actually means harm in the world. The internet is not a real place. I know a lot of people hate that phrase, like, oh, it really isn't a real place. And a lot of these people, like in person, like when I hung out with everybody at Tom Woods, well, to be fair, they're still making fun of me at Tom Woods, but like we're all doing it in jest. We all love each other. And that's the beautiful thing about this whole thing. Now, if you're being a dick to be a dick because you have nothing better to do with your life, maybe you need to figure some things out and go meditate on the subject. But when it's all done with love, you can really feel that love, man. Because
I
let's
agree.
be honest, Jose is a French bulldog. Sorry, I had to make a little job there, but
No, like getting roasted is sometimes the most fun, but also the worst feeling. Because like again, like we've all been in a circle of comics, and if you're the one getting roasted, you're like, how do I get this pressure off me?
Well, that's the thing too, is that it's almost like a challenge. It's like there are times where like I've been roasted with things that's like really just like where you're just like, ooh, that hurts, because a lot of sometimes people don't realize like how real something is to you, but the truth is that it's really not real. It's just mean words.
Right.
And the
That's
best
also
thing you
like the
can do,
funnier thing to say. Like, of course, like
yeah,
like okay,
when people bring up my mother hating me, like it freaking sucks, but
right.
honestly, it's kind of funny. Let's
It's
be
funny
honest.
though. It's always like my buddy texted me the other day, and he wanted to prank a few other friends of mine. And he was like, hey, you want to do this prank? And I was like, what's the prank? And he said it to me. And I was like, cool. Now I'm in the dilemma of, do I want to betray you because that's funnier and tell them that you wanted to prank them? Or do I go through with the prank? Like, what's funnier? Like the betrayal, of course. like you coming to me in confidence and be like, you want to prank everybody? Me being like, yeah, I'm going to tell them though that you're a scumbag. Like, that's funnier than me going through with the prank. Like, it's always, that's usually the way, like, that's just how it works. It's just, and people, if you have a hard time taking jokes and not understanding, like if you grew up not in that environment, like again, I grew up Staten Island, getting called fucking gay, whatever, like all the fucking time, like, fucking loser, fucking whatever. Like you're so used to it. You're like, oh, this is what it is.
There is no PC culture on Staten
There's
Island.
not.
Just PCP pipes.
Just yeah, that's it. PVC pipes.
But,
Yeah, there's none. There's none.
It's like I've met so many people, especially in the political world, by the way. If you want some hot tea for you, the amount of political people who will talk absolute shit about each other, will sit on their keyboards and talk shit, and will like just blackmail the crap out of each other and use things against each other and lie about each other. And then if you like make a joke about them, they freak out. And these are all like right-wing. You okay, dude? You got COVID or something? You chilling? You good? Okay, cool. But it's like you make one simple joke. Like I remember, just like I'm not gonna say the guy's name, but I remember when I was
say his name, coward.
Okay, so when I was hanging out in a certain kitchen in England, okay, we're just gonna say that, and
Gordon Ramsay.
Like, we're I wish. No, Gordon Ramsay actually can take a freaking, a punch or two. This person would just rag on people all day and just be a jerk to people all day and like, as poking, pushing buttons and whatnot, poking at the side, to the point where like you'd be like, dude, that's a little too far, but whatever. You make one simple joke about this dude, one simple thing, make a little jab, about his accent or like the fact he's got no chin or a smaller version of other parts a man doesn't want to have. He would freak the hell out on you. I mean, I swear to God, this guy
That's called
couldn't handle a
insecurity.
joke for nothing. It's the funniest thing. And this isn't just him. This is the majority of people in political punditry. I swear to God, they'll just attack each other on the keyboards. They'll go at each other. They'll tear each other down. And the moment you make a slight little jab at them, they can't handle it. They freak out. They blow up. And it's the funniest thing too. And look, when I was in politics, a part of me was always, terrified as well, because when you're in politics, there's this pressure of you gotta be perfect all the time. You have to know what you're talking about all the time. You can't admit you don't know what you're talking about. You can't admit you haven't read enough, blah, 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 blah. And so I have to admit, I went through a lot of, freak outs because I was constantly terrified because I'm never going back into politics, by the way. It's the most terrible thing in the world. There's nothing fun about it. You can't actually have fun. It's constantly trying to beat the other person down and win all the time.
Yeah,
And I
it's
hate
like,
that.
yeah, you're right. It's kind of, it's,
And that's what caused
yeah.
most of my stress and mental health problems. Because I was constantly trying to be the perfect person all the time. And when you learn to let go and just have fun and laugh at yourself, things are 1,000 times better. And I feel like I definitely need to take a break from the political world for a while and just like remember who I am. I'm an entertainer. I like being on stage. I like laughing and being goofy and dressing in weird outfits. I'm never going to run for office. I'm banned from Fox News. So might as well laugh at myself. Might as well laugh at the world. I mean, that's just all what life is about. If you take life too seriously, if you get yourself involved with this stuff, you are going to drive yourself insane. You are going to just break down completely. So my best advice is that while there is a huge revolution going on, I do believe we are in the middle of a revolution. Be involved as much as possible, learn as much as possible, but don't take life too seriously because, we don't got much time left on here on Earth. So if you're gonna, be involved, at least make jokes about the world crumbling around you.
I agree. Let's burn it down with laughter. Let's
Exactly.
watch it crumble
in
while
pure
let's laugh at
Joker
it.
form.
Yeah, I
Pure
mean,
Joker
fuck it. We
form.
can't stop it. Can't stop the collapse. So might as well fucking go down with the laugh. We can end it here. It was super fun. Tell everybody where they could find you and all your stuff or any projects you got upcoming. Any men you're gonna go out with that are also clown makeup that might take over a city with tear gas. Where you will be, what city?
I don't know, Clint, how you feel about wearing makeup today? Any lipstick on your face?
It's disappointing. I haven't got any kisses at all.
Okay. You guys know what you said. No. Okay, so as you can see, it says Liberty Lockdown in the corner of my screen, but unfortunately I am not Liberty Lockdown. I am Ashton Birdie, ASHTON BIRDIE. I am on YouTube, Instagram, and my Twitter handle is the Ashton Blaze, THEASHTON BLAISE. I forgot to spell my own name for a hot minute. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Guys, go follow everybody. Go follow all the people we mentioned tonight. Everyone's so fucking cool. Thank you so much for coming on. And I don't know who the fuck next guest is. We'll figure it out. But,
Okay.
Everyone, thank you. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG @Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok @Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.